Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, She Sews Happiness. I'm Mary Ellen, just in case you've no idea who I am and you've stumbled upon this channel. This is where I will share all things sewing related with you. And yeah, I'm quite happy this week that I managed to make progress where I left off last Sunday when I was chatting to you, and I just finished my Rita dress. So this behind me is my last project. So this is made from a gorgeous bronze black lace style brocade that was gifted to me by Minerva as part of their brand ambassador program. So to be honest, I probably should have had this finished, but when I was sent the fabric, I had very different plans for it. But now with my 6-month pregnant body, things just don't work the way they used to. So I have adapted my plans and I have instead made another Rita dress. So the Rita dress is basically a hack of a charm pattern, the Rita blouse, which is essentially a peasant style blouse, which is elasticated around the neck and the shoulders, has a gorgeous like midriff section, just a bit of a detail, with princess seams just there in the middle as well. And it is intended to be quite a fitted, flared silhouette, but I don't, as I've probably discussed 100 times, I don't really do tops and skirts or tops and trousers. In fact, I never do trousers. I kept threatening to make a pair of charm pattern cigarette pants. That hasn't happened, and now that I'm pregnant, definitely not going to happen. And actually I've decided I never really wanted to make some trousers anyhow. All I really wanted was to learn about the fitting process so that I could kind of get to know that part of my body that little bit better. But all those things have been put off indefinitely. So we'll see if I ever come back to that. But this I absolutely love. This fabric is just a bit more dressy. And because everything that I've been wearing of late has been to accommodate that expanding waistline and expanding everything else, and has been very comfort oriented, I just felt like I had to make something slightly more luxurious, slightly more suitable if I want to go out for dinner. And unfortunately no cocktails, but I'm thinking while I've had to add certain inches, particularly around that waistline, that's going to be an easy modification to make 6-7 months down the line when I'm able to take clothes back in again. And it really is just a case of taking it down the side seams, and I don't think I would notice too much of a difference if I did that. And even if I did, most other people won't. You'd have to be a sewist to know those kinds of things. And in my line of work, in my social sphere, nobody else sews. So I think I am perfectly fine on that regard. But it's lovely to have that finished. I haven't even put it on yet or taken a picture of it, but it's there and I will, and I'm sure I'll show you that whenever I get around to doing either of those things. So what am I planning to do next, you might say? Again, this is a plan I've had for a little while, and I was going to sit today and trace out the pattern, but I have deferred because I've discovered that the fabric, which in my head I had washed, of course, pre-washed, ready to go, I have not pre-washed, of course, because that would be organised, and I'm definitely not organised these days. So I have this gorgeous like cassis shade of a stretch velvet, which again I've got from Minerva, and I am planning to sew up a Tilly and the Buttons Joni dress, a pattern that I've been kind of wanting to visit for quite a while, basically since I started sewing, but I always got distracted by other patterns and other projects, so that never happened. But last year I made a sew over it Betty dress from a very similar fabric, and I absolutely loved it. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, why on earth are we using stretch velvet to make a Betty dress? I don't know, I just wanted to, and I was a beginner, so I was adventurous and I was just trying out different things. I wanted to know how a woven pattern would convert and transpose if I was making it with a stretch. fabric instead, and all I did was size down a couple of sizes. I didn't make any huge adjustments, and I ended up with a dress that I absolutely loved, apart from one thing. This is a beginner problem. I faced my velvet with the same fabric, stretch velvet, and therefore sometimes I get like a little bit of facing that likes to pop out, and that's really frustrating. So I'm going to try the Joni dress, because I also love, and you can see here on the cover of the book that it's in, Tilly's actually wearing it. I love that knotted bust detail, and that's kind of what's drawing me to that. So the pattern thankfully still fits. Of course the books are not as inclusive as what Tilly's patterns now are, but the Joni dress does go up from a bust 30 to a bust 44, and a waist 24 to a waist 38, and of course your finished measurements, bust would be 42.5, the waist would be 41, so it does still work for me even in my current shape and size. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to have to sit and trace it out, which honestly, very idea of is cursing me, but you can see it does seem to be quite maternity suitable as well, because if you look here at this image in the center, when Tilly is wearing it herself, she is pregnant. So yeah, I think that'll work, and it'll be something then that I can wear afterwards, because this is one of my key things at the moment, is I'm not making clothes that I won't be able to wear in the future. I just find that wasteful. I'm trying to be more sustainable, so going forward in the next couple of months my makes will be maybe some people might think a little silly given my current state, but I do want to be able to wear them over and over and over again, and my plan is just to buy whatever I need in the interim rather than spend the time and the money on pretty things if I don't have to. So that's where I am. So that's going to be my next project. I'm going to have to get that washed and out on the line to dry. But other than that, I have a few fabrics which have come this week as well. So I'm going to show those to you today. Now, one of the first ones I have, and you'll see there is a theme going on here. There are some fabrics that I've been buying not for myself, but for the little person who will be here in a few months. And the first one is this absolutely adorable baby cord with these gorgeous teddy bears, either out on their skis or enjoying a martini with a little Santa hat on there. Really, really cute, and I couldn't resist. So I'm going to make a little Christmas shirt out of this fabric, which happens to be a dead stock fabric. It is ex Ralph Lauren, and it was used to make menswear for Harrods. And I think there was a little image, so if I find that image, I'll pop the image in. It was actually shirts for men that this was used for, but I just think it would be cool for a little dude as well. So I have some of that. Also, I've started to buy some novelty fabrics, because even for myself, I love a novelty fabric. And when it comes to jerseys, there is so much choice out there. So the first one I have is this adorable little farm print, which I thought would make a lovely baby grow. And just to make some t-shirts or sweaters, I've got a couple of the Stuff jerseys. So I got both of these from Minerva, and I thought they were really, really cute. So these gorgeous little bears and bow ties and these little animals and their feet ankles. And the little farm fabric was actually from Jenny Stitches. So lots of little projects on the go. And one of the projects I actually have that I want to try is this one here. So this is Grow Baby Grow pattern by a company called Two Stitches. One, of course, that I was not familiar with, and I think that's one thing I'm learning, is that there's so many pattern companies out there I've never even heard of. So this does seem to be quite a simple project. In terms of difficulty, it's given it a 2 out of 4. I think that's not really realistic, because actually when you look at it, there's lots of tiny small parts, so even the neck bands and the ribs and things, those poppers I mean, I've never ever in my life used snap fasteners, so I did have to order some from Jenny. I did get myself the Prim plier tool and a box of snap fasteners, and I'm gonna have to practice on a few scraps before I try it on the real thing. But this is one of those things I've avoided and purposefully avoided for a long time. I'm not really a fan of tools of any kind. They just seem to complicate things in my very strange mind. I suppose I probably make them more difficult than they have to be. But the wheat grow itself is quite cute. It's basically designed that you can use up jersey prints, but it would also look really, really nice. And I don't even have the image of it here, so I'll pop the image into my video. The way it's designed is you could have gorgeous plain fabric with even contrasting neckband and cuffs and things like that. It seems to be designed quite well. It looks like it'll be comfortable, looks like it'll be easy to take on and off, and yeah, I'll give it a go. I managed to buy a few other patterns as well. So Over It had a half price sale on their Poppy and Jazz range of patterns. So I got the birch trousers, which I think are reversible, or they're the little joggers. No, they're the little joggers. I didn't get the reversible ones. I also got the clover trousers. Those are the reversible ones. And they seem really cute and really practical as well. And I also got a copy of the Honeydew hoodie, which again is reversible. And again, if you can see in the image, uses poppers. So this could be a learning curve, one that I'm not really looking forward to. I also have copies from previously using them to make clothes for my niece. I have copies of the Elm t-shirt, I think that's what it's called, and the Strawberry sweatshirt, which are unisex patterns, and I'll be able to use those to make a lot of tiny little outfits when the large outfits get too much for me to handle, and that day is coming. As I say, the cutting in particular is absolutely ghastly. And I think the problem is I have a lot of desk space, but my desk space is more multi-purpose. It was never for cutting fabric on, and I do sometimes use the dining room, but again, all that stretching is really just not great right now, so I'm not enjoying it at all. And I used to actually prefer just cutting on the floor when I was more flexible. I was never greatly flexible, so you can imagine how awful it is now. And then a couple of other little fabrics that I bought were, again, from Jenny Stitches, which is kind of like my one-stop shop, let's be honest. I'm sure there's hardly been a time when I've come on and made a video where I haven't been showing you what I bought from Jenny. So these are my threads. You'll see I have actually got some Miraflex thread, which I've spoken about before. Gooderman Miraflex thread is an elasticated thread, which means when I'm sewing with my jersey fabrics, I can sew with a straight stitch instead of a zigzag or lightning stitch or anything like that. Speeds up the process and it's just less laborious. And then my matching thread for my other fabric. So the first thing I have here, and as I said, I do have a thing for novelty. While I'm trying to sew things that are plainer so that mixing and matching in my wardrobe becomes much easier, I often cannot resist a cute print. So woodland animals is one thing that I absolutely adore. So I've got like 2.5, maybe 3 meters, I can't remember, of this beautiful fabric to make myself a jersey dress, which will get me through the next few months and will still be fine to wear next year as well. So I just thought it was beautiful. I just love that print, and I love those autumnal colors peeking out from the teals and the greens. And then if you watched my video last week, you'll see I was making a true bias Marlowe cardigan. The blog is up on the Jenny Stitches blog website, so if you want to check out how I found that and my thoughts on that pattern, do go and check that out. I'll actually pop a little link into the description box when I'm editing. But I got some of this really gorgeously soft knit fabric, and I'm going to make myself a much looser, cozier version of the Marlowe sweater. And I just thought that the colors were really complementary. So if you look at those together, you know, that blue really does match the blue in the backgrounds of my cotton jersey as well. So yes, I bought something that is not going to be easily mixed and matched by any stretch of the imagination, but that cardigan will go perfectly with it. And I'm planning to make a couple more basic cardigans as well to get me through the winter. So those are my splurges this week. The one thing I should already tell you as well, the reason I bought that fabric is to make a sew over it pattern. So if you do come here and watch my videos, you'll know that one of my go-to jersey patterns, I happen to be wearing yet another one, is the Colette Patterns Minerva dress. And as much as I love it, I do force myself now and again to branch out. So I've got myself copy shop copies of the Esma dress, which is another jersey dress, slightly different in style. I think it's got a waistband and things as well, which makes it a little bit different. So I thought I'd try it out and make a version in that lovely cotton jersey. So that is the plan. You'll see I did get the copy shop printouts because gluing it together and cutting it out just wasn't doing it for me. I'm avoiding that, but I can't actually avoid it in the case of this Johnny dress because the patterns all come double-sidedly printed in the back of the book. So yeah, I wish you could just pay for a PDF copy of that pattern. I would much rather do that than sit and trace and cut it out, but unfortunately that's not an option that I know of anyhow. So I'll just have to deal with it. There's probably a couple of things I need to get. I've been using a lot of invisible elastic and elastics in general with my makes recently, and I probably need to get some stuff like that before I can do it. But as I said, I need to actually wash the fabric first. And then one of the other little projects I've got for myself to do, because I can do this without even being at my sewing machine, I bought a couple of advent calendars. I was going to say advent panels and then I changed my mind last year, which was the Yappy ones. Let me see if I can even show you these. So I thought they were really, really cute. I actually got these to put dog treats in, and then I never, oh, I said the word. Now I'm being stared at. I never got around to actually doing them, but you can see I've actually started cutting out some of the little pieces, you know, so I was thinking I might even just hand stitch those, you know, in the cooler evenings when I get home from work and I don't want to do anything too laborious. So those are pretty cute. That's something else for me to work on now that the autumnal nights are drawing in, and I'm really glad. I have been cursing summer this year, and most years I don't have any love for it. Anyhow, this year it was even more harsh and horrible than I had remembered. So I'm glad that cooler days are coming and darker nights are coming. Saying that, I turned my fan off literally to record this video. It is so warm today I can hardly cope, and the noise in the background I didn't need, particularly since there's a lot of noise probably that you might be hearing because Simon has chosen my moment of vlogging to cut and trim the grass in the front garden instead of the back, where I wouldn't have heard anything and you wouldn't have heard anything. But, you know, men like to be awkward sometimes. So that's my roundup. That's where I am this week. That's what I've done. You're probably thinking, you literally just made a dress. That's an achievement, trust me. But yeah, I do have some plans in motion, and I didn't send this little pattern away to the copy shop because for the sake of 10 pages, I think I can put that one together myself. So I'm going to get a lot of pre-washing done this afternoon, and yeah, hopefully during the week I'll manage to get a few things sewn up. I think it'll be easier to do the little projects just for the sake of the cutting and stuff. So hopefully this is the beginning of my productivity and not the end. So yeah, thank you again if you stopped by to catch up on what I've been up to. And I've just noticed I'm really close to having like 1,000 subscribers to my channel, which is lovely. Thank you all for being here. If you're not a subscriber, please do click on that little subscribe button. It'd be quite nice to round it up. I do like even numbers, generally speaking. But yeah, thank you so much for coming by again. And hopefully you'll enjoy seeing some of the little makes as much as some of my like dressmaking and things like that too. And I know I haven't had it on to show you it properly, but in my next video, hopefully by then I've tried it on, taken some pictures. I'll even try to take just a wee quick video so you can see how it works, moves. And yeah, until then, I'll say goodbye. Hope you're all having a lovely weekend wherever you are and getting some sewing done. Take care. Thank you again, and bye.